Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 186 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is going to be built on a little bit what we did last week, so probably the interesting fact may not surprise you if you went and watched the video last week. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is bam, the bluefin Notho. Now, the bluefin Notho, or scientific name Nothobranchius racovii, again that's Nothobranchius racovii. It is part of the family Nothobranchiidae, which is the family of African rivulines. Now, these fish are native to Africa. All of the Nothobranchiidae. This particular fish is actually native to Eastern Africa, around Mozambique and Zimbabwe. I believe it gets found in Southern Africa as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Now, this fish is more specifically going to be found in the floodplains of the lower Zambezi and the Pungwe River. I hope I said that right. And I say in the floodplains, and that is because they're going to be found in the water depressions, not in the rivers themselves, but in the little depressions. You know, when you are walking through a plain or a grass field after a rain, there's just little puddles here, there, and everywhere. That's where this fish is going to be found, not in the rivers themselves. Sorry, dropped something. It is a small fish, as you can imagine, being in these little small pools. They grow up to about 6 centimeters, which is about 2.4 inches. So really, really small. And they have multiple color variants. There's one that's called the KMP Black, which is found in Kruger, or at least the first one was found in Kruger National Park, South Africa. And that just has more darker colors, almost melanistic, I would think. I personally have never seen it. Then there is the red variant, which that would be closer to what we see here, which is red, which is a red head with turquoise highlights and things like that. But regardless, it is just a beautiful fish full of vibrant colors: yellows, oranges, blues, turquoise. It's a absolutely stunning fish. But that's actually just males. Females are much blander in coloration. You see right here, this is a picture of a female, and it just doesn't have much coloration. And that's because the males are the ones that realistically have all the color in this species. And I believe most of the Nothobranchiidae are like that. Now, it does have this rounded caudal and anal fin, and even the dorsal fin, caudal, anal, dorsal fin. You can see that they are actually a little stiff rays. They're a little stiffer, but I wouldn't call them necessarily spike. You might poke yourself, but this fish is so small that even if their rays are thick, they're not going to do much penetration. Now, they do have this very large eye with this vertical white stripe. Most of the eyes that I have seen have also been yellow, so that seems like a pretty good character, along with this tricolored tail going turquoise, orange, and then a black tip. Now, it is generally a solitary fish. Doesn't really like to hang out, especially during courtship. The males can get actually kind of territorial. But it is carnivorous, feeding on small invertebrates and insects. It probably eats some plant material as well, but probably more. It's more than likely carnivorous, at least for the majority. And they're very extremely important commercially, and they're commercially important because of the pet trade. They're very, very sought after in the pet trade, and you can find them easily if you know where to look and what you're getting into, because lo and behold, the interesting fact we're going to end the video on is about their reproduction. If you remember last week's video was about how fish can survive droughts. This is one of the fish that I had in there. In fact, it's the same species. No, not quite the same species. It's one of them. That is an annual killifish. So During their reproduction, males exhibit these super vibrant colors. They display them, attract the females, and then the females lay eggs in the mud or very damp areas. And if you remember, their eggs actually survive desiccation, which is basically drying out during periods of low water. That's their adaptation to drought. The males, or not the males, the adults just die, and their eggs just go down into this into the mud, and they actually just kind of dry up. But the eggs continue to develop, and then what's actually really neat is I found something saying that if the mud doesn't crack, then the eggs will actually suffocate because they need that gas exchange still. But if you remember, another interesting fact about last week is that how quickly they mature. Bluefin Nothos actually mature in about 12 weeks, and they live for up to a year. And then they die at the end of the breeding season. That's why they're called the annual killifish. And that's actually why they're so important for the commercial trade. Aquarium people that love annual killifish love doing this because they see the entire life cycle of these fish. And it's not something that you have to continually watch for month after month after month. It's, oh man, they've all spawned. Let me kind of drain my tank. Let me give it some time and then fill it back up. And then you'll get hatches. But something that I didn't know that was really neat and made sense, it's not very well studied, but one way that they grow so fast is actually due to the genetics, and their genetics are apparently very complex. But I found out that in general, there are dominant males in the population. And they are extremely fast growing and colorful. They grow faster than other males. And then they breed first, but then they die first as well. The females have hatched or have spawned their eggs, and this first group of male goes through. Well, as soon as the dominant males sort of die off, a newer group of males will actually become the dominant males, and they'll grow significantly faster and really develop a much more colorful bodies. And then they assume the dominant role, and then they breed with all the females, and then when they die or they get eaten, then the next group of males will do. It ensures that there is a lot of genetics going on to the next generation. It's also one of those things, based on that, not knowing this whatsoever, a lot of populations in wildlife biology are kind of defined. There's a definition of the sex ratio. So you can think of it this way. In humans, males to females, there's usually one male to one female. You know, for every guy, there's a girl, that sort of thing. Well, in the animal world, that's not always the case, especially in, you know, sort of group or herd animals. Usually, like, think of a cows or buffalo, things like that. You usually have much fewer males than you do females. Because of how this fish does with multiple males dying and spawning throughout the year, if it's the same females that are allowed to spawn and they're able to spawn multiple times, there's a very good chance that there are many, many, many more males than females in a population. And that's a really interesting thing to think on. It's not necessarily that uncommon, but it's something that I want you to think about. Whenever you're looking at fish, you're like, oh, or anything, not just fish, always try and think, okay, what can I take with this information? What can I deduce from this information? It's something that I want all my viewers to do. I want you to think critically. Even if it's not about fish, I want you to think, take some information and make that next step. And then also verify that information is real. So, you know, that's where I went is, okay, if the females can spawn multiple times, lay multiple clutches of eggs, then more than likely there are many more males than females. So hopefully that interests you as much as it interests me. Thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated regardless. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Valentine's Day is coming up. And peace.